There was a video recently was released by Michael Brown's father. And the young brothers and sisters on the streets in Ferguson, they the one got the movement going, where they would say Black Lives Matter, the movement. That's what we want to say there. And during the time of Ferguson, you know, they had different characters come in, like the D. Ray McKessons and Netta, you know, those individuals. And many people on the ground were saying, wait a minute, it's way too many, you know, these folks out here on the left wing out here. Like they didn't start this. Why all of a sudden we seeing all these people show up? And so people like Darren Seals and may that brother rest in power was saying that these folks have came in and took over Black Lives Matter, and you know, they using D-Ray in them just to be the face of it, but then folks is running it, right? Well, it was reported that Black Lives Matter had raised $90 million in 2020 during all the unrest for George Floyd and then also for Breonna Taylor. But I want you to hear the video, you know, from, you know, the brothers, and let's really get into where the money actually is going and who's controlling Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. Let's roll that clip.
Greetings. I'm Tory Russell, Ferguson frontline organizer, and on the behalf of many activists in the St. Louis area, I'm joined with Mike Brown Sr., the father of Mike Brown Jr. Today, we hold Black Lives Matter accountable. The movement that is catapulted into the limelight has forgotten about Ferguson and the freedom fighters. Freedom fighters like King D. Seals, Edward Crawford, and Danye Jones have literally given their lives to the struggle, but are rarely spoken about and families are not taken care of. Brother Ali, Joshua Williams, and many other political prisoners from the Ferguson movement are incarcerated or have been and still has received no assistance from Black Lives Matter. What kind of movement are we building where we're saying Black Lives Matter, but the freedom fighters and the families are being left behind? Where is our restitution? Where is our organizing? Where is our building of a movement? We have groups like the Lost Voices and the Freedom Fighters here, and thousands of other youth activists in their 20s and 30s have been out in the streets protesting for months and months and years for years. Still forgotten. We're asking that Black Lives Matter leadership funds $20 million to Ferguson organizers, organizations, and community foundations to do the work. We're not begging for a handout. We're coming for what we deserve. Today, as we demand the $20 million to go to Ferguson as restorative measures so we can continue what we started, here's what we'll be organizing. Annual commemorations around Mike Brown Jr.'s life, mutual aid programs, Black Panther-style programs and services to meet the needs of the people, community gardens and farms, and also organizing fellowships and stipends so we can fight white supremacy full time. This is what we started in Ferguson, and this is what we will continue.
So the brothers are saying they need the $20 million so they can definitely do the work. Now, but prior to them doing this, there were local Black Lives Matter chapters that were saying the exact same thing. Say, hey man, we spending our money out here. Yeah, where all these millions of dollars that these corporations were donating? Why aren't y'all passing this money out? So we definitely gonna get to that. Now, if we put up this first, slide here that we want to look at, it says, as you can read here, Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. Now we're gonna read this. Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. It says the primary organizational outgrowth of the more decentralized Black Lives Matter movement. Now, you remember how a lot of times many of us will say Black Lives, we cool with Black Lives Matter, the movement, but not the organization? Well, that's the organization, Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. Now, they said they decentralized. In other words, anybody can say, hey, man, we Black Lives Matter. We going out there. Decentralized doesn't mean nobody control it. Anybody that's black, if they want to be, can be in Black Lives Matter, right? Yeah, so now continuing. It said it is a fiscally sponsored project, we talking about the organization, of the Tides Center, an affiliate of the Tides Foundation, a major left of center donor advised fund. Let's say BLM Global Network Foundation is affiliated with the Black Lives Matter PAC, or Political Action Committee, and with Black Lives Matter Grassroots. You see that? The Tide Center has tied all this in. So we're gonna talk about them, but let's talk about this money, because that's really what's the most important, right? So let's talk about financials. Now, they said in audits covering fiscal years 2018 and 2019, and 1,000 currents, that was who they were before they switched to Tide Center, the names, reported 2.6 million and 3.3 million respectively in donor restricted assets for Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. These audits also showed 83.3% of BLM Global Networks Foundation expenditures were for personnel, consultant, and travel costs during the 3-year period from 2017 to 2019, okay? While about 6% were for grants to outside organizations. And who are these organizations? Including the local Black Lives Matter chapters. Okay, only 6%. Now, we know we're missing some percent. So where's the mystery percentages at? And you basically saying operating costs for this is 83.3 million, okay? Now, they say prior to 2020, among the largest donors to the group, at least indirectly, was the Ford Foundation. In 2016 gave $100 million to the Black-led Movement Fund, a fund administered by the intermediary Borealis Philanthropy. The Black-led Movement Fund has in turn provided general operating funding to the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation several times since 2016. Now, they mentioned that Novo Foundation gave 1.5 million. WK Kellogg Foundation gave 900,000. They mentioned all these different people that gave money. Okay. Now they mentioned the Open Society Foundation, which is ran by George Soros, gave 33 million. Okay. So now this is what they're talking about here. Let's get to it. Why a lot of people are mentioning Black Lives Matter right now. Now, in 2020, I'm reading here, they raised approximately $90 million. They said they incurred $8.4 million in operating expenses and dispersed $21.7 million in grants, spending on get out the vote campaigns during the 2020 U.S. election. That total about $2 million. And the organization reported a balance of approximately $60 million after these expenses and grant disbursements. Now, who they gave the grant disbursements to? That's interesting. Let me read you some of these people. The Okra Project, TGI Justice Project, Take Birmingham, Trans United, Andre Lord Project, Trans Justice, Breakout Black Trans Circles, Transgender Law Center. It says Black LGBTQIA plus Migrant Project, Solutions Not Punishment Coalition, Marsha P. Johnson Institute, the Transgender District, Black Trans Travel Fund, For the Girls, House of Gigi, Highlander Center, Black Organization for Leadership and Dignity, East Chicago. They gave it to Partnership for Advancement of New Americans. That's interesting. Africans Rising, Haitian Bridge Alliance, Trans Justice Funding Project, Trans Housing Coalition, Homeless Black Trans Women's Fund, Black Trans Media, House of Pentacles, House of Tulip, Black Trans Films in the Arts, Brave Space Alliance, Black Visions Collective, Brooklyn Boyhood, BOIHOOD, and BYP 100. There's an overall theme to some of this money given. Now, Black Lives Matter. Y'all didn't give nothing over here. You did not pass a dime to African Diaspora News Channel. Why is that? We're black media. What's the problem? None of the money is coming to anybody that's out here actually doing the work at all. Just want to make sure to let you know I didn't get a dime from them. But all kind of people got money. It had nothing to do with police brutality, right? Because I hear nothing about police brutality. I didn't hear anything about getting brothers and sisters out of jail with this money. I didn't hear anything about getting laws changed or you could, jail these race soldiers. But I'm hearing a whole, definitely a overall theme. I'm gonna let you guys in the comments say what the theme is, because I have to be careful on what I say here. If I was on my website, I would go in on it. But let's get to the Tide Center. Who is the Tide Center? So the Tide Center is a left-of-center nonprofit created to manage the fiscal sponsorship of its sister organization, the Tides Foundation. Both groups are part of the Tides Nexus of pass-through and fiscal sponsorship nonprofits based in San Francisco, California. Tootie Scott is the CEO of Tides, a position she held since approximately September 2019. They say the Tides Nexus has since grown to incorporate 8 nonprofits, including various supporting entities, investment management nonprofits, 501c4, advocacy group, a single controlling organization. Okay? So let's look at, just something about, this is Tootie Scott here. Make sure, Tootie don't look like me, but Tootie's, running the organization that's controlling Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. So as you could see here, if you read that, this woman has a 30-year career in leadership, talking about Title IX protections and strategic philanthropy consulting. Tootie is focused on now engaging people and bringing a social inclusion lens to philanthropy and investing via workshops, speaking, and writing. She's talking about different publications that she's been a part of. Everything from money, gender power, a guide to funding with a gender lens, Slingshot Community Moving Money for Impact, a guide to investing with a gender lens. Also, if we go back a little further, that her firm, Changemaker Studios, had guided organizations in navigating growth and transition such as Athlete Ally, Equal Rights Advocates, Farm Sanctuary, Jewish Women's Funding Network, Reflect US, Root Capital, Third Wave Fund. Those of you know what Third Wave I'm talking about. And Women Moving Millions. Now, good when they say women, they don't mean black women. But let me, oh boy. See, Tide Center, you messed up when you went, public with the IRS. And because any 501c3 organization is going to be public. You understand what I'm saying? Your financials and everything else. So all that money, and you heard where the money was going, all this get out to vote and all this, that's not why Black Lives Matter was formed. Talking about no get out to vote. That's not what it was formed for. It was formed to fight against police brutality. That's what it was formed to fight against. Racism, not get out to vote organizations. And all the money you gave, to people, we never heard of none of these organizations. And the money went to have an overall theme. But see, it made sense when we called out the Black Lives Matter website that a few years ago and said, wait a minute, do you know they say nothing about black men, but you use the death of black men to get all your money. See, all that money that was going to them was a huge finesse. It was. And it makes sense. When have corporate America ever supported true black grassroots organizations? When? So while black folks is in the street getting shot with rubber bullets, you getting tear gassed, you getting maced, you getting beat upside your head, you going to jail, they collecting the money. So, and think about the conversation they was having at their little, get-togethers at these expensive hotels, and when they do all these, strategy meetings. The left wing and the right wing, they both get together in these little secret meetings and strategize what they're going to do, right? They just don't haphazardly do anything. This is why when you see them doing a propaganda, it's so coordinated because they playing that jump. Anyway, so could you imagine they watching y'all in the streets getting just whipped up by them race soldiers, and they're sitting in some Ritz-Carlton hotel, something like that, and say, oh boy, they going through it. Man, sucks to be them. We over here in the Ritz-Carlton on this Black Lives Matter money right now. You know what I'm saying? And they're laughing about it. So corporate America like, shoot, hey, I ain't giving my money to them. It's good. And I look good and I'm not even racist. I'm great because, man, I was having some issues with discrimination in the company and We were about to get sued, but we gave this money. Oh man, we good now. Everybody think it's going to black people, but it's not even going. All the black people are silly and laughing at us the whole time. A big finesse. But like I said, you can't trust the white supremacists. You can't trust them. This is why Malcolm X told you, if you want to be an ally, it's fine, but you can't run nothing. You go stay on the sidelines. You can give some advice. You can give money. You can point to different resources and say, hey, I can help y'all get this resource, but you can't come run nothing. You can't come run a thing. You're not going to be on the board. You're not going to be any kind of leader. It's just not going to happen. But the reason why Malcolm said that is because in this country, they have been taught they're in control, they're in charge, and they don't have to listen to anything that you say or be underneath your leadership. I've had black folks say they've lost their whole companies by allowing others to come in there. And they look up and they lost their company that they started. So I'm a firm believer, you ain't running nothing here. Not here. I'll shut this thing down before I let anybody else run it. It's just that simple. If it's not me or my children, I'm shutting this thing down. I refuse to let anybody come in here and run this. I'm the one built this up, not them. They sure not coming in and taking nothing over here. But this is the thing. You want to support the grassroots, support the brothers and sisters that you know is doing the work, and give it directly to them. Like if they got some sort of way you get the money directly to them, or you know this organization is in the community, in the streets doing the work, give it to them. Because there's a lot of brothers and sisters right now in these streets that should have got that $90 million. You understand what I'm saying? But they don't. Those brothers and sisters go through it out there in the streets. They spending their money. They spending their time. They're trying to gather money to get people out of jail. Understand what I'm saying? But the Tide Center then got all the money. And then when they do get it, well, who they giving it to? We read through the list. All the media organizations that they gave it to, sure didn't give it to none over here. There were some organizations that was in there that we read earlier. Like, what they even got to do with anything? Everything was trans this, trans. What that got to do with police brutality? You know what I'm saying? This who Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation is giving the money to that a lot of y'all gave to. It wasn't just the corporations. Y'all gave money. People around the world gave money. If you want to support black people, give the money directly to the people that you know is doing the work. Give it to them. Because like I said, during this George Floyd thing, say, oh, we want to support black businesses. Not a corporation gave a dime over here. The only people that support us is our viewers. That's who support us. They support us by, giving things. Some people may send a cash out. Some people may, send a money order. Some people may, join our Patreon, which we would love to get more Patreons. So, people join our website. Awesome. We want more and more of you to come join the website anyway, because that is our place to talk where we don't have to be censored. I'm censored here. I censor myself. But support the people directly who you feel is doing the work. Don't give your money to these people. Because if you giving money to Black Lives Matter, you giving it to the Tide Center. You might well just write your check to the Tide Center, because that's exactly where it's going. Cat's out the bag. It's been a big finesse. Not the first time we've seen a finesse like this, but that's exactly what it is. Tide Center, give them people that $20 million. You say you got a $60 million balance. Why don't you turn that $60 million over to the brothers and sisters in Ferguson who started it, who fought, who died, who kept dying after it was over with? Give it to them. They need it. Give it to Melissa McKinnis in St. Louis. Her son, Donye Jones, that was lynched out there. She needs it because she was fighting in the streets. If you remember that interview I done with our sister, that was one of the hardest interviews I ever conducted. They need the money so they can continue to do the work. If the Tide Center don't want to give up the money, then you know what? Keep calling them out, and don't y'all give a dime to Black Lives Matter, not a dime, because forget that. You know, like I tell y'all, listen, we tell y'all left wing, right wing is still on the same white supremacist bird. It is. So with that being said, you understand what I'm saying? Stop giving your money. Give it directly to the people that you know who's doing the work. Well, leave me a comment, let me know what you think about the situation with our brothers in Ferguson and, you know, Black Lives Matter, you know, taking $90 million. And you heard where it was going. It's not going to nobody that look like you or me or fight for those issues at all. You know, I guess I don't have the, let me not go there, but you know what I'm probably about to say. I don't have the right alpha, you know, letter in that, you know, mantra to get anything to our media house. But that's fine. We got the people. The people support us. You know, more and more people, and trust me, any support that you give, trust me, that support go right back out to people definitely in our community here in America and also on the continent as well.